The government's been closed for 2 weeks, and your healthcare premiums could spike soon. I'll explain why no one's budging and what breaks this stalemate. I want you to hold on to that healthcare question for a minute, because we're going to come back to why millions of Americans might see their insurance costs jump in the middle of this mess. Here's where we are. On Tuesday, the Senate voted for the 8th time on a Republican bill to reopen the federal government. It failed 49 to 45, nowhere close to the 60 votes needed. According to the reporting, no senators switched their votes from the last attempt, and we're now 14 days into a shutdown that's furloughed workers, closed federal offices, and left families wondering when their next paycheck arrives. Meanwhile, Congress is stuck in a blame loop. The Trump administration is shuffling money around the Pentagon to pay troops, and more than 4,000 federal employees have been laid off, according to a court filing by the country's largest federal workers' union. So, what does this mean for you? If you buy health insurance through the Affordable Care Act, the tax credits that keep your premiums affordable are set to expire. Democrats want those subsidies extended in any funding deal. Republicans say no. If those credits lapse, millions of people will see their monthly premiums rise sharply, maybe by hundreds of dollars. That's not theoretical. That's your household budget. If you're a federal worker or contractor, you might already be furloughed or laid off. If you rely on federal services, passport renewals, park access, research grants, safety inspections, you're waiting. And if you're a service member, you just got a paycheck on Wednesday, thanks to Pentagon funds reallocated from research and development accounts. Hold that thought. We'll dig into whether that move was even legal in a moment. Let me walk you through the story. The main characters here are Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, House Speaker Mike Johnson, and President Trump. The conflict is simple on the surface. Republicans passed a clean continuing resolution in the House, a temporary funding bill with no add-ons, they say, that would keep the government open through November 21st. Democrats refused to vote for it unless it includes an extension of those ACA healthcare subsidies. Neither side will blink. Thune accused Democrats on the Senate floor of holding government funding hostage over health care and flip-flopping on shutdowns for political gain. According to the reporting, he said Democrats were against shutdowns when it suited them and now support them because they think it helps politically. He added that he suspects their calculations are flawed. Schumer fired back with a different charge. He slammed the Trump administration for approving a $20 billion bailout for Argentina in the middle of the shutdown. According to his floor speech, if the administration has $20 billion to spare for what he called a MAGA-friendly foreign government, it can't turn around and claim there's no money to lower healthcare costs at home. He called the Argentina move a slap in the face to American families. Speaker Johnson told reporters on Tuesday he has nothing to negotiate. He accused Democrats of playing games and said he's grateful for a commander-in-chief who understands the country's priorities. He dismissed Democratic concerns about the legality of using Pentagon research funds to pay troops, saying, "If the Democrats want to go to court and challenge troops being paid, bring it." Here's where the receipts get specific. 1. The Senate vote tally, 49 to 45, shows no movement. No one switched sides. 2. According to a court filing by the American Federation of Government Employees, more than 4,000 federal workers have been laid off during the shutdown. 3. The Pentagon and Office of Management and Budget announced that service members received their October 15th paycheck using reallocated funds. Trump ordered Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to find the money over the weekend and posted on Truth Social that he wouldn't let Democrats hold the military and national security hostage. 4. Johnson said the Republican stopgap contains no partisan priorities and that there's nothing he can take off the document to make it more palatable. He's kept the House in extended recess and scrapped scheduled votes to pressure Senate Democrats. 5. Schumer's speech cited the $20 billion Argentina bailout as evidence of misplaced priorities. 6. Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, a state with a high concentration of federal workers, said the layoffs are part of the Trump 2025 playbook and urged the administration to stop attacking employees and start negotiating. 7. Democratic lawmakers have publicly questioned whether the Pentagon's reallocation of research and development funds to pay troops is legal, though Johnson insists the administration has every right to do it. Now let's address the pushback you're probably hearing. Republicans argue their bill is clean. No partisan riders, no poison pills, just basic funding through late November. They say Democrats are manufacturing a crisis over health care subsidies that could be handled separately. That's a fair description of the GOP position. But here's the rebuttal. The ACA subsidies expire soon, and if they lapse, premiums for millions spike immediately. Democrats see that as a direct threat to working families, and they're using their leverage now because they have it. They argue a funding bill that ignores an imminent cost of living hit for families isn't clean. It's incomplete. And on the Argentina bailout, the optics are brutal. $20 billion for a foreign government while federal workers are furloughed and families face higher health care costs. That's not a made-up contrast. It's in the public record. On the Pentagon pay maneuver, Republicans call it common sense. Troops shouldn't suffer because of a political fight. Democrats don't dispute that troops deserve pay, but they question whether the executive branch can legally shuffle appropriated funds without congressional approval. That's a process question, not a question of intent, and it matters for checks and balances. So, what are the values at stake here? This comes down to whether government serves working people when it's actually open. Democrats are framing this as a fight for affordable health care, fair pay for public servants, and a government that doesn't prioritize foreign bailouts over domestic needs. They're arguing that competent governance means keeping services running and costs stable for families. Republicans are framing it as fiscal responsibility and executive decisiveness. No giveaways, no bloat. Troops get paid no matter what. The contrast is in the outcomes. If the subsidies lapse, real people lose real money every month. If federal workers stay furloughed or laid off, services stop and paychecks vanish. If the Pentagon can move money without congressional sign-off, that's a precedent question about who controls spending. Those aren't abstract principles. They're kitchen table stakes. What happens next? The House is still in extended recess, so no votes are scheduled there. The Senate could bring the Republican bill up again, but nothing suggests votes will shift. According to the reporting, Johnson has no strategy beyond doing the right thing, the clearly obvious thing, the traditional thing, which means he's not negotiating. Watch for 3 signals. First, do any Senate Republicans break ranks and demand changes to the bill or push leadership to add the health care subsidies? Second, do Senate Democrats representing states with fewer federal workers start feeling pressure to end the shutdown regardless of the ACA credits? Third, does the Trump administration face a legal challenge over the Pentagon pay reallocation? And if so, does a court issue an injunction or ruling? If none of those things happen, we're looking at a shutdown that stretches past November. Here are my predictions. Scenario 1. More likely than not, this drags on at least another week. Neither side has political cover to fold yet, and the right-wing House Freedom Caucus is praising Johnson for holding firm. That's his base, and he won't cross it without major pressure. Scenario 2. Less likely but possible, a handful of Senate Republicans or moderate House Republicans force a negotiation by threatening to vote with Democrats on a modified bill that includes some form of ACA subsidy extension, maybe partial or temporary. That would give both sides a face-saving out. Scenario 3. Least likely in the next few days, a court rules the Pentagon pay reallocation is illegal, forcing Congress to pass a narrow military pay bill and breaking the logjam slightly. That could create momentum for a broader deal. Remember that healthcare question from the top? Here's the payoff. The ACA subsidies are the tripwire. If they expire, premiums jump for millions of people in the middle of this shutdown. And Democrats believe voters will blame Republicans for prioritizing a clean bill over affordable coverage. Republicans believe voters will blame Democrats for holding the government hostage over a single issue. One side is wrong about the politics, and we'll find out which side in real time. So what can you do? Track the Senate vote tallies. If you see a Republican or Democrat switch their vote, that's your signal that movement is starting. Check whether your health insurance comes through the ACA marketplace, and if so, look up what your premium would be without the subsidy. That's your personal stake. If you're a federal worker or contractor, document everything. Missed paychecks, delayed projects, furlough notices. That's the public record being written right now. Call your senators and ask a specific question. Will they vote for a funding bill that includes the ACA subsidy extension? And if not, what's their plan to prevent premium spikes? You can find their office numbers on senate.gov. That's not activism, that's accountability. Here's the bottom line. We're 2 weeks into a shutdown with no end in sight, healthcare subsidies set to expire, thousands of workers laid off, and a $20 billion foreign bailout approved while federal offices sit dark. The Senate vote showed zero movement. The House Speaker says he won't negotiate, and your premiums could jump any day. Who blinks first matters, because it sets the template for every funding fight and every policy standoff for the next year. So here's my question for you. Who should make the next move? Senate Republicans, Senate Democrats, or Speaker Johnson? And why? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to know where you think the pressure breaks this thing. If this breakdown helped you see the stakes clearly, subscribe for more fact-first, no-spin explanations of the news that actually affects your life.